All right, all right, all right, all right. Welcome, 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 welcome to the latest, the greatest episode of Terrible Town Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, live from the Steel Basement. How's everybody doing tonight? First, I need you guys to confirm that you can hear me. You can hear me. You can see me. First, I need you guys. I think you can because I just played double audio there. But please confirm that, guys, because for whatever reason, I don't know why, but my chat is not showing up. Chat is not showing up. I don't know why. The chat is not showing up in my software. The chat is actually showing up in the browser. All right, so what I'm going to do, hold on, guys. What I'm going to do really quick is I'm going to make a makeshift chat window. I'm going to crop my Google browser, and I'm gonna put it over here alongside my. Hold on, y'all. Give me a second, man. I don't understand what is going on here. Just so I can see the chat. Hold on. Oh, man, I don't know why it's not working. And now this isn't working the way I want it either. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Let me try something. Hold on. But either way, guys, I'm not going to sit here and waste too much time on this. Hold on. I think I got it. All right, there we go. I got it small enough to where I could see it alongside my software. So hopefully I could read your comments there. I might miss Wonder Bread, so if I do, y'all let me know. But what's happening, guys? How's everybody doing? I'm going to throw the link in the chat here in a moment. For those of you guys that want to call in, you know the way that you have to call in is through Discord. That is the only option we currently have for phone calls. But how's everybody doing? Let's say hello to the early commenters. And like I said, I'm sorry, guys, it is bootleg tonight. My chat usually pulls up directly into my OBS software, but it's not for some reason. But we're not going to let that stop us. What's happening to Jared Devil, Antoine Hill? Hello, Lanisha, the lovely Lanisha in the building. Always appreciate when our lovely ladies come check us out, so thank you so much. Hope you're doing well. Fellas, y'all know the routine. Lay out the red carpet for our ladies. Make sure you say hello and treat them with care. Who else is in here? Dr. Trey 88, Crazy Ron Gaming, CT Pittman, Steeler Cards is in the building as well. Who else we got up in here, man? Hello, Alisa, another one of our lovely ladies of Steeler Nation. Hello, Alisa. Hope you're doing well tonight. Zuri Rivers in the building. What's up? What's poppin', player? Kenyon, good brother Kenyon is in the building. Who else is up in here? Christopher West is in the building. Leonard Langley, Pop is in the building. Who else is up in here, man? Jack Bauer is in the building. Walter Worthy in the building. Lamar Fullard in the building. Now, Lamar, I'm not sure I've seen your name before. Maybe I have, but I haven't seen you in a while if you've been here, but I don't necessarily recall the name. So hello. My man, Sim Gaming Network is in the building. He says, we meeting up on October 29th in Pittsburgh. Yeah, do we play Green Bay in Pittsburgh? I'm assuming that's who he's referring to. I thought we played in Green Bay. But hey, you know what? I can't go to that game, man. I'm going to actually be in Jamaica. Yeah, Jamaica, man. Sorry, I apologize for anybody who has Jamaican heritage. I know that wasn't a good accent. Not making fun of it. I'm just trying to represent you guys. But yeah, I'm actually going to be in Jamaica that weekend, man. So, dang, that would have been a good game to go to because my wife wants to go to a game this year. So I got to look at the schedule But hey, yeah, we're gonna be in Jamaica, man, for a few days, celebrating someone's birthday. But there you have it. But anyway, guys, let's get to the show. Listen, I'm gonna be very open and honest and frank with y'all tonight. Freestyling this show. I am. I have had an extremely busy week so far. It's only Tuesday, I know. Super busy. Had a ton of stuff going on today. I just got back from practice with my son and the team. They're doing good, guys. It looks like we're probably going to make the playoffs. We are currently sitting at 3-2, and we actually expect to win our next 3 games. So we're either going to end up the number 1 or number 2 team in our division. So we're going to go to the playoffs. We feel like we've already locked it up, even with just 3 wins. We're 3-2. One of those games we absolutely should not have lost. But having a good time with that, man. Watching the young men, young fellas become young men, and it's cool, being able to teach the youth a little football. So I'm having fun doing that. But anyway, guys, it has taken a lot of my time. So I told you guys, after October 25th, if that is our last regular season game, after that is playoffs. So we have about 4 weeks, 5 weeks maybe left. And after that, we could get back to our 8 p.m. schedule, hopefully, depending on how basketball practice and what those times are going to be. But I'll keep you guys up to date with that. But let's get into it. Listen, I'm freestyling this one, man. I don't really have any main topics. My only topic is basically that I know right off the top of the head is what I talked about right there in the title. The Steelers are the kings of the North right now, but for how long? And that's kind of what I'm going to just ramble about, talk about a few things, mention some side things that don't necessarily have, anything to do with directly with the Steelers, but it is Steeler news because it's division related. Look around the division, man. There's just some crazy stuff going on. For those of you that don't know, Joe Flacco has been traded to the Cincinnati Bengals. And if I'm not mistaken, and I just thought about this, and some of you guys might say it's obvious, but it just hit me as I repeated that. Joe Flacco will have played for all 4 teams in the AFC North. That is crazy. How crazy is that? Well, I'm sorry, no. Did not play for Pittsburgh. Did not play for Pittsburgh. So I would say he has played for 3 teams in the division. I don't know why I said 4, but 3. This guy has played for 3 teams within the same division. That is crazy. And within his original division. Remember, the guy started with he started with the Baltimore Ravens, obviously, and then his stint with the Browns twice, I think, right? Well, I could be wrong, but stint with the Browns, and then here he is now going to Cincinnati. I think that is absolutely crazy. Round of applause to the good brother C.T. Pittman, man. Appreciate the Wonder Bread. He says, I'm ready to see Joy Jr. ball out. I know he hungry. Yeah. And the question is, man, about Joy Porter Jr., I'm ready to see who he is this season, who he's going to be. It sucks that he's had to miss the amount of time that he's missed. It's still early. That's the beautiful thing, guys. We're only about to play our 5th game. But I hope Joy Porter Jr. has gotten the penalties under wraps, right? Because I think if he could be what we need him to be and be penalty free, it just gives us much more depth in terms of what we could do at cornerback, man. Brandon Echols has been playing relatively well, but just being able to say 1 through 4, you got Joy Porter Jr. and, you got Darius Slay, you got Jalen Ramsey. And again, Slade may not be what he used to be, but again, he's keeping things veteran back there, right? And then you got Echols. I'm cool with that. I am cool with that. Then you got guys like Julius, got Pep, I want to say what's his name? Peppers. Jabril. Why don't I want to call him Julius, but y'all know who Julius Peppers is. You got guys like Jabril Peppers, right? That hopefully we're going to continue to keep him in the fold at some capacity. And of course, having Deshaun Elliott back there, man, and having even Thornhill back there, I like what this secondary could be to finish out this season if all of these guys stay healthy. So I definitely want to see Joey Porter Jr. get back into the fold, absolutely, man. But I'm just hoping that he has the penalties together. I hope he's not as grabby, and he has become more technical sound. And if he's that, and him and Ramsey, I really like what we can impose on opposing offenses. So we shall see. What else do I have, guys? As far as guys coming back into the fold, Alex Highsmith as well. Again, the more hands, the merrier. But you already know when you get some of these guys back, some roster moves will have to be made. I can't remember right offhand what roster moves we made, when Joey Porter Jr. went down, when Alex Highsmith went down. I'm not sure if we made moves or not since we had guys behind them, but I'm sure something was affected, whether it might have been a practice squad or it might have been a guy further down on the depth chart. But we'll see how the roster shakes out at the end of this week once we know who is officially back, who's not. But I am not mad at that as well. And again, here comes that comment. I know some people are already saying, oh, well, he should take a back seat to Herbig. Again, guys, I don't know why we always do that. I don't know why we always want to have one guy at a time. I am beyond happy that we'll have Alex Highsmith as well as Nick Herbig, as well as TJ Watt, as well as Jack Sawyer, who's quietly been doing some things that maybe he's not getting the recognition for. Once again, round of applause to CT Pittman, man, dropping that Wonder Bread. Appreciate it. He says, the Browns' game plan will be quick game to protect Gabriel. If Terrell Austin has them playing off coverage, I'm going to be fuming. Yeah, absolutely. Hello, Odessa. I see Odessa in the building as well. Hello, Odessa. Make sure you guys say hello again to our lovely ladies of Still a Nation, man. I just happened to see her name there. Appreciate when you ladies drop by, man. I really, really, really do. And thank you as well, Odessa. You know why I'm thanking you. I can't remember if I replied to you via email this time. I usually do, but in case I didn't, thank you so much for your Wonder Bread. Appreciate you. Yeah, I really want to see the Steelers, man. I'm going to say this as politically correct as I can. I would like to see our pair. Some people say, I want to see you grow a pair. Nah, I want our pairs to grow throughout the season, throughout the game. And what I mean by that, put them on the table. Grow a pair and get in these guys' faces. Stop sitting back and off coverage all the time. Stop. Sometimes you got to grow a pair, man, and it's you and me. It's you and me. We're going to stand right in front of you. We're going to press, or we're going to play tight man coverage right in your hip pocket. If you beat us, you beat us. We ain't sitting back in the zone on this play. We coming right at you this play. Let's see who's going to win. I need the Steelers to do more of that. Again, do you do it the entire game? No. Sometimes you can't do that. Sometimes there's routes that are called man beaters for a reason. Just like there's routes that are zone beaters for a reason. But you have to be multiple. And when I say multiple, listen, I'm not talking about a complete 180. I'm just saying some of these situations that are weighty downs, as Mike Tomlin will say, possession downs. Some of these times, let's stop sitting in the coverage that most teams expect us to do. Let that pair hang. Grow a pair. and just put my chips on the table. Let's go. You got big corners. You got savvy big corners in a Jalen Ramsey. You got a younger, bigger corner who was known for being more of a man guy in college. Joey Porter Jr. Come on, man. We got to do that. So I agree with CT Pittman wholeheartedly, man. You know the ball is going to try to come out quick. I saw a stat. Who was that? I saw something on social media, man. I can't remember who was saying it. One of the pundits, it might have been an ex-player or somebody, but they was talking about Gabriel's performance from this past week and how it was more dink and dunk. That lends to it right there. I think they were saying something to the effect of most of his passes were to running backs, not really taking any shots downfield. So that lends to what CT Pittman is saying. Get in their face. Force the ball out quick. You don't have to sit in zone for that. But we'll see. We'll see. What else I got, guys, before I dive into, my question in the title there. Oh, and by the way, here it is, guys. Let me put the link in the description right here. Well, in the chat, excuse me, if anybody who wants to join Discord and y'all want to have a few words to say, definitely see we have at least one already in there. So there it is. And I'll get to you guys in just a moment. But yeah, man, couple other things I wanted to talk about really quick. There's news out there saying that Odell Beckham Jr. has expressed interest for wanting to potentially play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I asked the question to you guys. How do y'all feel about that? Odell Beckham Jr., because since we're so enamored with saying, oh, we need a number 2 and da-da-da-da-da-da. How y'all feel about that? Me personally, I'm going to say no to that. Listen, OBJ is not OBJ of years past. I think he's dealing with some issues now as far as, disciplinary. But for what, man? You know what I mean? We don't need to do that. If you're going to do that, go get a younger guy, right? Because at this stage, I don't think Odell Beckham Jr. is going to give you more than what we were getting from Calvin Austin. And when Calvin Austin comes back, and Mike Tomlin, from what I heard, didn't get the chance to listen to the entire press conference today, but I saw some clips and some write-ups. He's saying that, Jalen Ramsey and Calvin Austin have the chance to come back this weekend. And that's the reason why I was even talking about Jalen Ramsey, man, when we talk about attacking the Browns. So it's like once he comes back, I mean, really, what is a Odell Beckham, what, you know what I mean? What's going to happen then? You guys are saying, let me see what y'all say. Walter Worthy says, nah, I'm good on that. Jermaine White says OBJ has 6 games suspension to serve. Yeah. Joe Manick says Odell Beckham needs cash. I don't know about that. I don't get into people's personals. I mean, I'm sure the dude still has some money. He made some money in his career. If he's smart, he still has some. Kev So Fun said he's a number 3 or 4 at best. Yep. I agree with that. Will.i.am says I'm cool on OBJ. Yep. Walter Worthy said he out there now running like ODB from the Brooklyn Zoo. David says no need for the headache. Yeah, so I'm cool on that, man. I'm cool on that. I am cool on that. Absolutely. So I just wanted to share that little piece of news. Let me see. Was there anything else, guys, that I wanted to mention to y'all before I kind of dive into, my question of the day? Hold on. Let me see. Like I told y'all, I'm freestyling this one, man. I didn't really have a lot to get into with the bye week and such. No, I didn't really have anything else other than we talked about the injuries. So here's the question. Here's the question, guys. Main topic. The Steelers are currently the king of the North, right? The question is, for how long? For how long? And the reason why I asked that question, which is the same reason why I give my assessment of what I think the team is in week 6. And ironically, after we play 6 games, the Steelers season is going to take off and it's going to be off and running. And what I'm going to do is kind of just go through some of these games. And by the way, tonight was going to be a steel table, but I had an idea. I reached out to Kenya and I said, hey, you know what, Kenya? I was going to have you on tonight for the steel table, being as that we had a recent bye. I said, but actually, let's have the steel table the Tuesday following the 6th game of the season. Therefore, you guys know I give my assessment in 6 games, and then I can allow Kenyon to give his assessment. We won't discuss it. We'll discuss it live on the show, and it will be organic. So that's perfect timing to do that. So we can both kind of say, hey, this is what we think this team is. This is what we expect will happen down the road. And that'll be a good opportunity for us to, probably agree on some things. We may disagree on some things. You guys may disagree or agree, and then we'll see how the chips fall as the season goes on. But like I said, guys, if we're taking a look at this, right, I'm going to move on to week 6. Pittsburgh Steelers will be taking on the Cleveland Browns, right? They take on the Cleveland Browns at 1 p.m. You know what? That's not that bad of a game to go to neither. It's in Pittsburgh. Well, they're going to take on the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns are currently 1-4. They will be led by Joe Flacco. And the Browns have not done much, ladies and gentlemen. Do I expect the Steelers to win that game? I'm going to go out on the limb and say yes, I do. I expect them to win that game. It's not necessarily meaning that we will, because one thing that I noticed, and hold on, let me find it right now. The Cleveland Browns, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on. Give me a second. If Google Chrome will work for me, let me show you something here. Right now, the Cleveland Browns are by yards. I'm just looking at yardage. They are the number 2 run defense in the NFL. Green Bay Packers are currently number 1. But by yards, total yards allowed, the Cleveland Browns are sitting at number 2. 127 rush attempts against them. They've only allowed 378 yards. Why is that important? Well, in order for the Steelers to have a successful offense, it is vital that we run the football. They're number 2 against the run in terms of yards. Now let's see where they are against the pass. Again, I'm just going to do yards because that's the easiest thing to kind of, you know what I mean? Cleveland is sitting at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're currently 7th in allotted yards against the pass. That is not bad. The Atlanta Falcons are actually number 1. Interesting. Now, you know who's number 3? Somebody we just played. The Vikings. The Vikings have only allowed 875 yards. You know, our yardage was a little skewed a little bit because DK Metcalf had the 80-yarder, but I'm just saying Cleveland they're number 2 in yards allowed against the run and number 7 yards allowed against the pass. Cannot take them lightly. Cannot take them lightly. Now, I do not think that the Cleveland Browns will be much from a offensive standpoint. I don't think they're going to do much. But we got to be careful, guys. Listen, it is absolutely is a divisional game. You know, they know us, we know them. So the question is going to be, are we going to be able to run the football and protect Aaron Rodgers against guys like Myles Garrett, right? But is it a winnable game? I think so. The Cleveland Browns have not looked good this year. And they don't even really have a stable quarterback situation, man. So, you know, Gabriel doesn't scare me. Again, he's a rookie. You know, I would imagine that Coach Tomlin and Terrell Austin will come up with a plan to try to, you know, shake and rattle and roll the young rookie. Might we see Shedeur Sanders in this game? You might, you know, depending on how Gabriel looks. There's a chance that Sanders will have to suit up because now, which I think is crazy anyway, he's no longer the number 3 quarterback. He will actually be the de facto number 2 now, I would imagine, with Joe Flacco not only being benched, because, again, when he was benched, here's the funny thing. When he was benched, Shedeur was still the number 3. But now that he has been traded to the Bengals, Shedeur Sanders is the number 2. But anyway, you know, I don't think I've seen enough from Dylan Gabriel in the NFL to fear him. So this one should be very easy, in my opinion, as far as the plan. The Steelers can go out there and stop the run like they actually have been able to do the last couple of weeks. I think the Steelers should be able to do enough to get this done. And I'll leave that. I'll go more into that when I do the pregame show. But again, let's just take a look at, real quick, Cleveland Browns. Hold on. Let's do this quickly. I want to see what their remaining schedule is. So Cleveland obviously has the Steelers coming up, then the Dolphins, then the Patriots, who looked pretty decent this past weekend, beating the Bills. The Jets, the Ravens, the Raiders, the Niners, Titans, which Titans ain't really did much so far. They then have the Bears, they have the Bills, Steelers again, and Cincinnati. Don't think that their season is going to, looking at this, I don't think the Browns are going to come out of this with a winning season. So therefore, I look at that and say, okay, the Steelers have a shot right there at the division, right? We go and look at Cincinnati. Cincinnati has just lost to the Broncos in week 4. They lost to the Lions in week 3. They will be playing the Green Bay Packers next week. Thursday, they will be playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, then the Jets, the Bears, then the bye. Come out of the bye, and they get the Steelers again in Pittsburgh, November 16th. That might be one I circle on the calendar. My record is pretty high when we faced off against the Bengals, but that might be a game that myself, the wife, and my son can go to. That might be one. Then they have the Patriots. They have the Ravens again. They have the Bills, the Ravens again, Miami, the Cardinals, and then Cleveland again. Now, given the situation, I don't think Joe Flacco is going to do but so much uplift for the Bengals. You know, for fantasy life, I would like him to do something decent because Jamar Chase is one of my guys, which, by the way, this past week I went crazy in fantasy. If I think about it, I'll tell you guys at the end who I had, and I got 155 points. It's crazy. Now let's take a look at the Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens, which, man, who saw this coming? 1-4. Now, I absolutely understand that Lamar Jackson didn't play this past week, but also those first few losses, Lamar Jackson was in the lineup. I understand they may have some injuries defensively as well. Listen, all teams do. We have had to deal with it. But like I said, if somebody would have told me based off of coming into this season, knowing Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback, and not really knowing who, again, using you guys' words, who's the de facto or the standout number 2 receiver, not knowing how our left tackle and right tackle are going to do, since one of them is new to his natural position, the other one is playing his de facto, I keep using that word tonight, rookie season at right tackle, not knowing how our run game is going to be, and all of the above, right? Nobody could have really convinced me that after 5 weeks of football, the Pittsburgh Steelers would be 3-1, the Baltimore Ravens would be 1-4, the Cleveland Browns would be 1-4. Okay. And the Cincinnati Bengals would be 2-3, which I think they are. No Joe Burrow. Gone for 3 months. So by the time Joe Burrow is even possibly ready to come back, their season is over. But let's look at the Ravens. The Ravens coming up this week, they have the Los Angeles Rams. I wonder if Lamar Jackson plays in that one. Because if not, listen, the Rams ain't no easy out, bro. Absolutely not. Then they have their bye. They have the Bears. They have the Dolphins. They have the Vikings, the Browns, the Jets, the Bengals, the Steelers. Not until week 14. The Bengals again. The Patriots again. Oh, not again, but the Patriots on week 16. Then they have Green Bay in week 17. And then the Steelers again in week 18. Now, some people are saying that the season is already over. Some people are saying that the Steelers will run away with this division just by sheer numbers. I would caution you all to say, not just yet. Not just yet. The Ravens at any time could go on a run and beat some of these teams. Not a team that I named, though, I feel like the Ravens can't beat if they get themselves together. Not one. Cincinnati, those 2 games should be a wash. The games against the Steelers, more than likely it could be a split. We could win both, or it could be one of those freak seasons where they win both. I could see them losing to a Green Bay. I could see them losing to a Patriots team that late in the season because the Patriots look like they got a little punch to pack. You know what I mean? But other than that, I could clearly see the Ravens making a run, right? So it is not a guarantee that the Pittsburgh Steelers at this stage can win the division. Now, are they in control of their own destiny? Absolutely. So let's just take a look at our schedule really quick, and then I'm going to open it up to the phone calls. Are we in control of our own destiny? Absolutely are, right? However, let's take a look at this. Pittsburgh Steelers schedule. And boy, put on your seatbelt. We come off the bye, and we will be playing the Cleveland Browns this Sunday, followed by the Cincinnati Bengals on Thursday. Now, those 2 games just off of quarterback situation and quote-unquote dysfunction of the season early, those 2 games are games that are right in your hand to win. If you go play Steeler football and you play well, you should be able to win these games. You should be able to get a Cleveland Brown team in your building led by Dylan Gabriel. And I'm not disrespecting him. I'm just saying, come on, man. This guy's a rookie. This guy's smaller in stature. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do to just disrupt what he wants to do. Making his second career start, I think. Cincinnati Bengals on Thursday, we get Joe Flacco. Could they still be dangerous? Sure. It's a divisional opponent, but again, You go in there and you face off against Joe Flacco, which can't move as much anymore. Again, Joe Flacco was benched in Cleveland. His game hasn't changed that much in a couple weeks. Yeah, he had those, with the Colts and coming in and saving the day, the old heroics of a veteran. And in Cleveland, if I remember correctly. But come on, you are years later now, there's one additional year. And obviously he wasn't playing well in Cleveland. So I think he will more than likely continue that same trend at Cincinnati. However, I will say this. Is Cincinnati's offense better for him? Maybe. Does Cincinnati have a better offense? Sure, with the weapons, so who knows? But I'm not afraid of Joe Flacco. Then it really starts to get cooking. As my guy Sim Gaming Network already said, Week 8, Green Bay Packers. Week 9, Indianapolis Colts. Now that game, it looks like a good one too. I think that's in Pittsburgh. So far, guys, I'm thinking maybe November 2nd or November 16th might be those might be the games keep my eye on to go to. Week 10, San Diego Superchargers. Had to show them some love, right? But the Los Angeles Chargers, who looking good right now, leading their division with the quarterback, and Kenya knows this, with the quarterback that I happen to love, man. You guys have heard me say this before. Love Justin Herbert. I want the Steelers to find their Justin Herbert. Let me explain what I mean just really quick. I'm going to take 30 seconds. It doesn't always have to be the marquee guy, right? The surefire number 1, number 2. Nah, it could be one of them other dudes in the class. Excuse me. That not everybody is talking about as being the first one. I won't say Ben Roethlisberger because that year, those 3 quarterbacks were pretty much the marquee guys in the draft, but it could be the guy you get a little later, right? Might not be right at the top. It might be that quarterback that, you get at the 12th pick, 11th pick, 10th pick, something like that. Like Justin Herbert was. Justin Herbert wasn't really the guy that everybody was, trying to scoop up in that draft. He was kind of the old forgotten about. You knew he was going to go, but I like Herbert, man. I really do. So I would love for the Steelers to get themselves a Justin Herbert. Here it is, guys. Discord line right here. And I'm about to go to it right in a second. And then we'll wrap the show up. Cincinnati. Then we got Chicago. Chicago looked like they had a spark when they started. But now they just garbage. Who knows where that line comes from? Had a spark when you started, but now you just garbage. That's how I feel about Chicago. And I don't know if they're garbage. I just wanted to use that quick reference. They look like they was going to be something. I don't even know what their record is, but from what I'm seeing from Chicago, they don't look scary. So yeah, I won't say they're garbage, but early on, and again, this is only week 5, but early on, they looked like they've had a potential to be a little better than what I've seen over the last couple weeks. Yeah, they're 2-2, but they just, it's just not what I thought. You know what I mean? No, but what I'm saying, Kenyon, is Herbert wasn't the guy. I mean, from what I remember, he wasn't the one that nobody was trying to take him first or second. That's what I'm saying. These quarterbacks in these drafts, these dudes are always going in the top 10 and stuff like that. But what I mean by Herbert not being the guy, like he wasn't the first on nobody's board, in my opinion. It didn't seem that way as that draft was happening. That's what I'm saying. You know, he wasn't the guy, you know. Yeah, see, like Steeler Cards is saying, obviously Burrow, but I'm saying I want the Steelers to find that, you know, we don't have to get the first guy. We could get the guy that's like the third or fourth or fifth, you know, and he turns out to be like a Justin Herbert. I would be happy with that. I'm just a fan of the kid, man. You know, to me, he developed very nicely. And I like Justin Herbert a lot. And I'm on record saying that. A lot of you guys would remember. I've been saying that for a while, that I like that guy. Then we got the Bills. Then we got the Ravens. Then we got the Dolphins. Then we got Detroit. Then we got Cleveland again. Then the Ravens again to end the year. So I don't know how it finishes, guys. I really don't. I don't know how it ends. So that would be my question to you guys in the chat if y'all want to chat it up. We are the Kings of the North today, but how long does it last? Do you think the Steelers are on pace realistically to win the division? I think the Ravens have the best chances anybody to catch up, but we shall see. I don't think we've played our best football. So let's get to it, guys. I do have one in the Discord, so I'm going to go ahead and bring him on here. My man Zuri is in the building, so let's get to it. What's going on, brother? What you got for us?
You can hear me on?
Yes, sir.
Oh, what's up? You know, first of all, I want to shout out the Lions. Who the Bengals played? It was the Lions. Hey, all the teams that lost, basically all the teams that beat our team in the division. Shouts out to them. You know what I'm saying? To make everything a little easier. But yeah, it's just one thing I always have in mind is that 2009 season, we were 6-2, and we lost 5 in a row. That always replays in my head. We got to come with it late November, December. You know what I'm saying? Right now it's cool, but we got to really turn it on late this season, because that's really been our problem the last couple of years. And it's one more thing too, like goal line, bro. We got basically 4 big body bends out there. We got to spread them out and get it to one of them the goal line, bro. Like Darnell Washington to be the main red zone target, like all the time. But that's all I got. Y'all have a good night.
Man, definitely appreciate you calling in, man. I appreciate you guys. Let me just say this really quick, man. That's been audible, right? We were so used and so comfortable with Blog Talk Radio, and unfortunately, man, that option is no longer available. And we used to get pissed off with it too. Y'all remember? You remember it wouldn't work all the time, but when it worked, it was great. So I appreciate you guys that can run that audible with me, man, and jump on the Discord and stuff like that, because that's the best we got. I'll continue to search for more of a switchboard-like call-in service. But until then, we're going to run with the free ski, man. Listen, he's absolutely right about the red zone, man. And I want to see more options. I will not overlook this, though. The Steelers have been really solid in the red zone as far as efficiency. We absolutely have. We have looked like a totally different team these first 4 games, man. I mean, I know some of you guys, it might not look like that, right, at first glance, because you think back to the, which game was that we lost? The Seattle game. Oh, man, see, we couldn't really get no points going. And you think about the Jets game. Oh, we put all these points on the board, but they scored a lot on us. So it looks lopsided, but when you really pay attention to offensively, the Steelers' offense is in a way better position after 4 games now than we have seen probably the last 4, 5, 6, 7 years maybe. We are putting up points. Yeah, it might not be a ton, but I'm saying we have produced 21 or more points in 3 out of 4 games. And our red zone efficiency is higher, way higher than it was last season already. So those are some bright spots. So I'm looking forward to see how that continues. And I think to what Zuri was saying, it continues to be that if we definitely start using all of these weapons, the Darnell Washingtons, and I think, if I remember in one of those games, it wasn't the London game, but it was against one of those other teams, and I think we did use Darnell Washington down in the red zone. It might have been a 2-point. It was something. But yeah, I want to see more of that, man. I want to see more utilization of him. We are using him a bit more. Jonnu Smith as well, and I need Freiermuth to come to life, man. Freiermuth has been a little quiet. But yeah, I'm with you, man. He said the 4 big body bends, so we definitely got to start utilizing those resources there, man. One other thing I wanted to say really quick, just happened to see it in the chat. Sometimes you guys are so literal, man. Like, I appreciate it. I know everybody speaks and talks differently, but some of you guys are so literal, right? Where I say I love Justin Herbert, and somebody in the chat say, "Oh, but he's a playoff choker." Guys, I'm just not talking about the person, right? I'm not talking about that exact guy, right? I'm just talking about the talent. Because if I was talking about the exact guy, there ain't many of these dudes that I can say that I want to be a Steeler in terms of if you judging them off of success solely. What I mean by that, unless it's Patrick Mahomes or might I say Jalen Hurts over the last 4 years, these are your Super Bowl quarterbacks. However, would I take a Lamar Jackson type for the Steelers? Yes. Would I take Joe Burrow on the Steelers? Yes. Would I even take, and I know some people say, "Oh man, he was falling off a little bit, but he had a heck of a game this past week." Would I take a CJ Stroud? Yes. Would I take Justin Herbert? Yes. I'm just talking about talent. I'm not talking about like exact person. But again, it's funny, like anytime we discuss players, like y'all always have a comeback. Yeah, well, he da-da-da. Guys, stop being so literal. I'm just talking about the Steelers finding a bona fide guy that they consider and we all can see is a franchise quarterback. Yes, I understand Justin Herbert hasn't gone deep in the playoffs, but I will take that dude on the team tonight if he's available. You know what I mean? But yeah, y'all crack me up with that, man. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, Sellers looking decent, man. He's definitely looking decent. As I see my nose going the other way. And I knew it. This one thing I hate about college football, man. Everybody look good the first couple of weeks because they playing teams you ain't never heard of. It's what I hate about college football and all the money involved and paying these teams to play you and da-da-da-da-da. First couple of weeks, man, I'm telling you that they play teams that you've never heard of. Them 77 points that they scored don't mean nothing. Well, here they couldn't take care of business against Virginia. What else y'all got? Give me a few more topics, man, in the chat. Doesn't look like we're going to get too many calls tonight. Charles Jackson says the Steelers are not showing their full hand yet. They're giving little by little. So by the playoffs come around, you don't have much film on them. The best is yet to come. That's possible. That's possible. Only reason why I say possible, Charles, and again, this is not directed to you. If you've been watching me as long as I expect you probably have, I always say this, even about my own comments. It's speculative. We don't know that. They might be showing the 90% of what they have, and maybe it's work. You know what I mean? But I understand your root point. But I don't necessarily believe that teams keep so much in the tuck until later in the playoffs. I definitely think the teams do what they think they can do to win. and they might throw a few more wrinkles and stuff out there. But I think largely, and this is just my belief just from playing sports, and I know many of you guys have as well, it's better to be doing the majority of what you do and do it well, so it's a well-oiled machine. Doesn't really do you any good to hold on to things and then try to pull them out later in the season. You want them things like this, well-oiled machine. So that's why I won't necessarily say to the letter of the law that they're holding back and they're just giving you piece by piece. No, I just think what we're seeing now is better execution. And again, that just would be my opinion. I can't prove what I'm saying neither. Absolutely, real facts. We definitely need to take advantage of the mess that's going on right now. We absolutely do. We have the opportunity right now to really take off and run, man. Even if it just ends up being the last one standing at the end of the season, we have a pretty decent head start. So I would love for the Steelers to take full advantage of it. Because, again, you cannot count out a team like the Ravens. They do have their quarterback. I don't know how long Lamar is out. He was out this past week, which Lamar is my fantasy quarterback. And I made the genius move and just had a hunch. And I dropped my backup quarterback, who was Michael Penix Jr., and I said, you know what? C.J. Stroud is sitting out there. C.J. Stroud is sitting out there. I'm going to scoop him up. I scooped him up. And what a day he had for me. I mean, what a day. C.J. Stroud did his thing. C.J. Stroud actually gave me more points than Lamar so far this season. How crazy is that? So, yeah. But C.J. Stroud is on the bye this week, so definitely I hope Lamar Jackson is back. I don't know how far, how long he's out, but he's questionable, so I got to make some moves. I got to keep my eye and ears to the streets in terms of fantasy. But what else we got? Steeler Card says there are 3 quarterbacks I would avoid. He said Nussmeier, Alar, and Klubnik. Okay, I'd prefer Mendoza, Moore, Sellers, or Mateer. Feel free. He says, feel they fit our system better. Okay. Now it's interesting because I see a lot of people are talking about and mocking the Alar kid, the Penn State kid, and you said you would stay away from him. So again, it's all opinion based, guys. I respect everybody's opinion. None of us know who's going to be the best fit or who's going to be the best to pan out. Let's say that. Steeler Cards probably has, I haven't looked at all of them, but I can understand a lot of you guys may look at the system and say, these are the best fits. My question will be, when it's all said and done, who are the guys that succeeds in the role? You know what I mean? But we'll see. But all right, guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and shut this one down for the night, man. Like I said, we didn't have many people calling in. And again, I'm going to throw it in the chat one more time for you guys that want to call in. I saw many of you guys asking about it. Here is the link. It's in the chat right now to Discord. Save that link. You can join it. Send me a friend request. I will add you so that way you always know when that link, and I've started the voice call where we can have the voice chat, obviously, and that's how I bring you onto the show. Other than that, man, let me look one more last time. You said it's no longer valid. That's interesting, because that should be the, hold on. That's interesting, because that is the link. See, guys, this is why I don't like fooling with this stuff. This is why I'm telling you, I don't like fooling with Discord and stuff, man. I got to find a better service. But anyway, guys, we're going to wrap this one up for the night, man. Let me see if there's anything else in the chat. Jermaine White says, Sam, in your opinion, does the current leadership have the ability to develop a rookie quarterback? Yeah. Absolutely, man. Again, guys, again, this is just me speaking generally. I think a lot of that stuff is overblown. I do. The reason why I say that is because of this. Here's the reason why I say it. And yeah, you guys saying the link is working now. I got to run now, guys. The show went a little longer than I expected. But please save that link or send me a friend request, right? Send me a friend request on Discord. It makes it easier for me to invite you guys to The Voice when we do the show. So let me say this last point before I wrap up. I think it's overblown from us, the consumer, the fans' perspective when we ask if coaches are able to develop players, whatever position it is. Again, I'm not saying that you're doing this, Jermaine. I'm just, giving my general opinion on us as a fan base, period. When a position doesn't work out, what we say? Oh, man, they couldn't develop so-and-so. Perfect example. Everybody is saying Pat Meyer can't develop talent. Do we know if it's development or is it the player? Right? I'll give you two examples. Are we going to say that the Steelers leadership developed TJ Watt? Are we going to say Steelers leadership developed Nick Herbig? Alex Highsmith even? Are we going to say that the Steelers leadership will develop Zach Frazier? When Zach Frazier came in last season, and we was already saying he was doing solid for a rookie. You see what I mean? So what I'm saying is, I'll give you one last one that's not the Steelers. Are we going to say that it was Andy Reid and company that developed Patrick Mahomes? Or would Patrick Mahomes be able to play like he plays anywhere? Of course, Andy Reid's scheme helps the Chiefs, but I'm talking about his capable ability, his actual ability. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why me personally, I tried to stay away from saying a coach can or a coach can't develop, because I definitely do believe there's some of that, but I also believe that some of it is talent. So, it's hard for me to say what our coaching staff can and can't do when we've seen the super high success story in like a TJ Watt, and then we've seen other guys like a Kenny Pickett that just, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's a good one, Leonard Green. Ryan Shazier. Ryan Shazier was not incredible in his rookie season. Remember when Ryan Shazier used to shoot the wrong gap a lot? He just had that dog in him. And by that third year or so, he was the truth. But that's what I'm saying. Are we going to say that the regime developed him? Remember, that was a defense that included guys like, what's my man's name? Not LeBeau. Y'all know who I'm talking about right after him. Why can't I? Butler. That included guys like Keith Butler. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying it's tough to really pinpoint those things, but I absolutely understand your question, Jermaine. So like I said, that response was not directed towards you whatsoever. So appreciate you, man. But all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and shut this one down, man. Next week, looks like I learned something new. I think I'm going to have to just keep posting the link when I'm ready for people to call in. Apparently the link it changes throughout the show. So I apologize for that, but I definitely want to get you guys' thoughts and opinions. So maybe what we'll do next week, and I think maybe what I'll try to start doing now is getting callers in earlier, right? Maybe start the show with that. Maybe I'll start and give you, a little 5-minute introduction and be like, all right, let's hear from the people. And then after that, I could give you my thoughts and comments and concerns. So, because like I said, Tuesday really is you guys' show. It's not so much me, it's you guys' show. But all right, man, we're going to get out of here. Y'all know the routine. If you haven't already, wop, 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 right there. Hit that like button. You say you like the content, but for some reason, I don't see you guys reflected in the like button. I don't understand that. That's easy, and it's free. That ain't even Wonder Bread. That's just you just hitting the button to thumbs it up. If you like the content, subscribe to the channel. Outside of that, turn on your notifications. Last but not least, y'all know I'm always going to give you my PSA. Hey, man, y'all stay safe out there. Stay healthy. God bless. Good night. Like always, I thank each and every one of you all for tuning in. And I shall catch you guys in the next one. And this week, be on the lookout for a pregame show. Let me give you all a real expectation. Friday night, I'm probably going to my nephew's homecoming game. Sometime Saturday. All right, catch y'all then. Peace.